Alright, and we are live for some StormWorks. A little bit late on the stream, but that's fine. I've been early on other days, so I'm making up for it now. That being said, welcome back. So, while I wait for the stream to populate, this is what I've been working on. I did some work off camera just to relax and enjoy the game a little bit. To essentially describe what we've built so far, this is my current turret controller. It's the same kind of concept. It's a new controller, but it's the same concept of what was in my last tank. Mouse controlled PID system that I can aim like this. And then in addition, I have arrow keys so I can do fine tuning. So if I want to get to that point there, I can do that with just the arrow keys. You will notice the laser dips because this cannon works off of a return to center loader. So whenever I fire, gun returns to center, and it grabs a round out of the belt. This is not the simplest version of this that I've made. However, from what I can tell, it does not take any extra time to do the reload. It's able to do all of this movement within the time it takes to open and close the breach. So if I just hold down mouse, the gun centers in time to fire. Of course, I could wait an extra second or two. But if I'm doing full auto fire anyway, I don't think accuracy is the biggest concern at that moment. And the way this is achieved is if I'm going to disable the left and right aiming real quick. Do X. There's actually a pivot here. So as this fires, it comes down and that goes over and grabs a new round. So the belt is actually at a 90 degree and it's still able to steal a round out of there. Now, I have a few things I want to try for this stream. One of those is, well, a few ideas I want to try for this stream. One of those ideas is trying to make this even more compact. Because right now, the little swing arm is attached to the cannon. It's not a particular problem in of itself. It works as intended, so it's fine. And I've got plenty of elevation with it down there. The only thing is, I would like to have the majority of this ammo actually stored inside the turret, or the turret ring. Because I think right now there's like 26 or so rounds in here. Let me check. Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 rounds, sorry. This has 23 rounds in it, and this is just a extra ammo storage in the front hull. So if I climb down here, this isn't full, but the idea would be I would have a button I could click, and this would just start feeding rounds, so I can grab from here, and hopefully at some point have a place where I could just grab and put rounds into the turret bustle and have an auto feeder. So, one of the things I want to do is I want to have a force feed button real quick. We get to dive into logic. Before I dive into logic, I am going to check to see which side everything's on. It's going to extend. I don't want to extend to the red side. Let's go to the microcontroller. Width. Yes, okay, that's good. That'll extend out the side of the turret. I want to have a button I can press to force feed the turret. No, the battle cannon rounds do not detonate if damaged. The autocannon rounds will, but not the battle cannon rounds for some reason. And what this is going to do, this is just an abomination of the modern cannon loader. What this is going to do to some extent, it's realistic with more modern vehicles using a wet storage system. There is still a risk of detonation. However, it's significantly reduced, and in Western tanks, not as much in Russian tanks. In Western tanks, ammo is stored in such a way where if it does detonate, it doesn't actually risk the crew. This is done by separating the ammo from the crew compartment, putting in blowout panels, and a bunch of other safety measures, wet stowage, things like that. Russia just places the rounds under the crew, so when it goes boom, the entire turret gets tossed. Okay. So here's what I need to do. Essentially, what I want to do, the load gun is already fine, because it's going to be, if it's not loaded, it's going to keep trying to load itself. That we don't have to do anything for. However, the belt loader, let's do an OR gate here, or let's put a blinker if we have a blinker in here. One of the things that frustrates me slightly is inside the microcontroller and outside the microcontroller, there are different sets of logic gates you can use. It's like, why? Force feed, blinker. How long does it take to travel? 0.2 seconds. So, 0.2 seconds on, 0.2 seconds off. Oh no, this is the belt loader. This is going to be constant, I believe. Yeah, this is the feeder. Where's the load arm? Okay, no, this is where the ore needs to go. Wait, to here. Okay, that's good. You are going to grab, instead of this, you're going to grab here. And then the actual feeder is going to grab here. For engine braking, we are doing a different system for the engine throttle at the moment, so it's not as noticeable. We do have an engine braking system, which is just a generator. Basically just a bunch of... a bunch of gears and a generator. And the reason I'm not too concerned about it is because it's not really mission critical, and nothing in that system, even if damaged, will affect it. I think the only thing in there is the clutch that could be damaged and affect it, but it fails in a safe manner. So, during normal operations, it will benefit the vehicle with no downside. However, if it's damaged during combat, it doesn't benefit the vehicle as much as it did before, but it also doesn't hamper the vehicle in any way. So it's a win-win sort of situation, so it's fine. Okay. So this, let's do, I want to rename this as fire control system. Because that's what this is at this point. It's no longer the loader that it used to be. Etten Fuller 15s. I have no clue what that is. I may have had an old fire control system, but it doesn't really matter because I think I just overrid it. Okay. So, oh, it's over here, that's why. Let's do this. Let's look up a bunch of logic stuff because I accidentally deleted. Up, down, left, right, X, Y, loaded, fire. I guess I should rename that to trigger. Because that's where it's going. It's going to the trigger. Force feed. We're going to do force feed on 5. Or no, 4. Belt loader. Feeder. Open breech. Y out. Arm loader. And then ring out. So now, what should happen is if I press 4... Oh, it doesn't return gun to center. That needs to happen too. There it is. So I need an OR gate here. This is just getting a jumbled mess. It's fine, I understand what's happening. So now, if I hit 4... What I want to do is add an arm contains ammo. And a warning buzzer. So, oh, warning buzzer needs to be an output. What will happen is if the arm does not have ammo capacitor for more than 5 seconds, it will begin sounding an alarm. That tells me that something has gone wrong with the feeder system and or I am out of ammunition. So, let's do this one. Let's remove its round. And then let's hook up the logic. Arm contains ammo. And then buzzer. Okay, I like this one best. Let's turn the volume down to like 20%, or 40%, sorry. And then buzzer. Oh, I'm dumb. It needed to be a NOT gate. There needs to be a NOT gate in there. Right now I'm detecting when it does have ammo, not when it doesn't have ammo. Cool. Let's do the force loader. Let's give that more time. Why do you not load it all of a sudden? Because the round that I gave no ammo to is this one. Why are you not feeding properly? I think it's because I added all those OR gates. And these technically take time to calculate. Hmm. Okay, let's pull force feed out over here as like one of the inputs where it's supposed to be. Let's move these down and these out. These are the forced feed. Oh, it's so this is 2. Something here also has. Oh, okay. So normal feeder. There's open breach. There's feeder, which these are together. Okay, that worked. Here in a second it should alarm. Huh? Did it fix itself? Okay, real quick. I'm going to disable the aiming so I can just see the turret as it sits still without following my camera. Let's see if I can look in here. That has around. Can't see where the damn. One of those belts is missing around. But it's still working. Huh. Interesting? This is a situation of task failed successfully. It's not working correctly, but it is working. Okay. Also, whatever I've done has seemingly made it so just a single round doesn't matter. And what I want to do to actually improve that is that instead of the belt loader being operated by this, what are you going to? You are going to... Oh! Yeah, let's use you instead. This means that the belt loader will run basically the entire time that the gun is trying to load. So if there is gaps in this belt, it will try and automatically fix them. So you hear it running. It's running longer. So what I want to do is I'm going to fill this one back up. I'm going to leave this one full. I want to see how far this round will move through the belt. So it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 4, I guess. It started here, so 1, 2, 3. So every time this loads, it'll move this 4 belts along. There's my warning of, hey, something's wrong. I don't have a round ready, but I still have 2 shots. 3 shots. Oh, and it just shut up because I think it picked up the round. And it's also ensuring that it loads, which is interesting. This is a really redundant system by accident. And then, of course, I want to wait for the alarm to go off again. Okay. Then I can press 4. And this will try and force load the gun, or the belt. And the gun will detect automatically if it isn't loaded, and it'll keep trying to load itself. Let's do volume. I can barely hear it over the whirling of all of the mechanical components inside this tank. Curious. Because right now the gun can basically survive a single failure to load. This got a tank project? What? What's got a tank project? Oh. Yeah, it is a tank project, yes. There's my last generation of tank right there. And this is the new one that I'm working on. One of the things I'm trying to figure out is how I want to do side armor, because I would love for the sides of the turret, or at least the side of the hull, to be battle cannon proof. And I could also consider lowering the turret profile by basically sinking the seat into the turret. Because right now my plan is to essentially have the tank tracks. Here, let me make some room for these. I'm gonna get rid of these little stands that I've been using. Yeah. Hello, project incomplete. So my plan is to essentially put the tracks somewhere. Can I turn on symmetry? Do I have symmetry? Yeah, I still have symmetry. I'm good. Somewhere like here. I want to compare this in height to my last design. That's why I'm doing this right now. Because I want to be a very low profile. Don't mind all the damage I've done to this. It still functions. The turret, not so much. Why are the tracks not working? That's interesting. No. I actually built the engine first. This just doesn't have the engine that I built in it yet, because this is I'm building each component separately. So I built the engine. I've built... The armor is something I've already experimented with. I'm already familiar with armor, so I didn't have to make a new concept for this armor. And this is just me now making the fire control system, or the turret system. So, once I have this turret system done, I have the turret, I have the armor, I have the engine already done. I just have to mash them together, essentially. I have to also put a camera system on this at some point. So this is my old tank. This is, I think, the Mark 31. Yeah, it's on the bumper. Here, I can do slow crawl. I forgot. I keep forgetting these tanks have slow crawl on them. Wait. This one's diesel. This one is going to be a jet turbine. This one's diesel, but this one's going to be a jet turbine. I kind of want to lower the profile even more with these tracks, because the idea being lower profile, less likely to get hit. I should be able to put this in there without snagging the turret ring on it. Yeah. Don't mind the big barrel. So, ground clearance could be considered a problem. However, the track itself does add some thickness. And I'm hoping if I have the tracks, I guess to say close enough together, then I can put armor on the outside of the track, still have a decent profile, and not have any sort of bottoming issues or high centering issues. I could honestly go for... The arrow doesn't have to be up or down, to be honest. They just all have to be the same on all tracks. Because if I'm correct, which I'm pretty sure I am, could be wrong. If I do this, it'll be considered as a separate track set. Yep. So because this arrow is different, it's a separate track set. But I can also do this and place its arrow forward, and then these two connect. So long as they're the same on all the tracks, it doesn't matter. But, okay. I just want to be a really tiny profile that's hard to hit. Hard to hit with a whole lot of armor and just good, I wouldn't say overwhelming firepower, good firepower. Because I could go with overwhelming firepower and have a bunch of missiles and all that stuff, but those missiles are stuff that can be damaged, destroyed, and detonated. So, real quick, part of my testing I still want to do today is actually grabbing even more of these. Let's turn off symmetry now. I want to see if I can move the belt to be further forward. Here's what I'm going to do to test that. I'm going to get rid of the ammo in here. I'm just going to put a armor piercing in here. What I'm curious about is I'm going to do this. Throttle to grab. -1. Starting value that. Go to here. Go to not in logic yet. Not yet. I want to see if I can connect this belt up. Connected, and there, and doop. Okay, so there isn't a way to connect to that one. That's fair. Essentially part of what I'm abusing here is the fact that I've found a method of attaching. So this belt, because of where its attachment point sits inside this, it's a little weird. By pivoting it, I can actually get it to grab out of this belt, even though it's at a weird angle. It works. Is all I have to say. So my goal is to get as much ammo as I can inside of the turret ring. Because, yes, I could do like a massive turret bustle on the back here. But I want to try and remove as much size from outside the tank and try and compact everything inside. So let's see how many rounds we could fit inside this turret. I could also possibly put this turret system somewhere else. So instead of having it attached to squiggle about going down, that's the idea right now. Doing something like this. Yes, I already have that. So let's grab, I needed the corner piece. Part of my concern is also if this is going to actually snag on the inside of the turret ring, because I know the inside of the turret ring has some odd collisions, to say the least. And I have to also make sure that I don't get in the way of the moving component of the turret loader. So if I do this, I think I might stop the turret loader from properly indexing, I guess is the word I want to use. Let's put a round in here. As you can see, that's just in the way. This is just in the way of the moving component of the arm. And this system relies on there being a belt feeder as well. Add what as a component to the arm? Another connector. There's already a connector on the arm. It has extra ammo that was previously blocking full motion. Huh? So you want me to put another connector here? Really hard to see in this small space. I'm going to cut out the sides so we can see in here a little bit better. These for right now. So you want me to put another belt here? Is that what I'm understanding? So that it lines up with both belts in idle. What's in idle? Where it sits right here? Well, okay. If you're talking about what I'm thinking you're talking about, just having like a belt here that sits and lines up with both belts, or having, because the problem is this is a swing arm. It needs room to move, and it also needs room for the gun to go up and down. So it can't just have a static belt for it to interact with. This arm sits in a position where the gun can go up and down, and as soon as it goes to grab a round, it then swings over. I can't put one. Well, I guess I technically could put one here. Then this runs into other issues because I need a belt loader for both of these. I can't fit a belt loader onto here because the breech is in the way. Unless I ramp this all the way over the top of the tank. like that. In which case, the top of my turret would have a belt in it. Which wouldn't be the worst thing to have, to be honest. But I'm not sure this is going to work without some major modifications, because right now I don't think it can connect to this one without a full, like, 90-degree sweep. But I will give this a shot, because I have an idea. Let me grab a piece of paper and write down the 0.65 just in case I need to come back to it. Yeah, I can't get in and out of the way in time. So, real quick, I'm going to disable the alarm. I want to see if this connects to here. And keep going down. I want to see if I can get it to connect. Okay. Let's do 0.9. Oh? Can't rotate out of the way in time, though. We're starting to run into the problem of where it's going to actually either not load properly, or I'm going to have to reduce the loading time. Let's see. Yeah, let's make sure this is loading properly, though. Do I have the belts hooked up? Yeah, that... Can I go lower? Maybe I'll see inside here. Gotta raise this up. Yeah, I can't take from that. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Now I have to also go in here and change this value. It's this one. Wait, yeah, it's not worth it. Wish there was a corner belt connector. Because we have corners and we have belt connectors, but we don't have a corner belt connector. Also, let's see something. Cool. Corners are considered full blocks, which is nice. Hmm. What if, let's delete this, and then I'm going to save this. But, and for the time being, I'm just going to move this out of the way to try and figure out how I want to route this belt. Because I need, let's do battle cannon belt. Is this the one I would need? I think it is. Yeah. That there. And this can be the loader, or the belt loader, yeah. So we had, what, 21 rounds before. Let's see how many we have now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 rounds. Let's make sure these are all loaded. Wish the corners could have multiple rounds in them. 1 round for like a 4 or what? It's a 3x3 for 9 block space is a bit abysmal. Normally it's 1 round for a 3 block space. That's 1 round for 9 block space. I wish it had more rounds because then you could actually use it like a carousel loader and just have a spiral using the corner pieces. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to aim here. I want to try and hit the corner of that. Aim down a little bit. Yeah, if I'm going full auto, it does seem to dip a little bit. I think I could get around that in a few ways. I want to see if I can return to center quicker. Which one controls my... this one? That didn't load. Too short because it's snagging. Feel the turret sway when it snags because that does not like the collisions that are occurring. Make these faster without causing the entire thing to just bounce wildly. Especially the battle cannons. Yeah, this takes a while for the gun to get ready, essentially. Because, what? The battle cannon doesn't tell you how long it takes to open or close the breach. I'm actually curious. Will this still load? Hmm. interesting. I've played Sprocket. It's really fun. They've been doing a lot of overhaul work, so the game's in a very like non-functional state at the moment. For the sake of, they are completely redoing so many things that trying to build in the beta version is just impossible. The If you go to like the stable branch, it's pretty good. But the current like beta version, they're completely redoing how internals work, which basically they're trying to create a system where everything is modeled. Each crew member is kind of like how War Thunder does it. Each crew member is specifically modeled, which I like. However, it's because of this complete overhaul that a lot of older tanks can't be loaded into the new version. And I don't think the AIs themselves are up to date. Last I checked, it was you could only do the build menu in the most recent beta. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, literally, the only thing that was in the beta last time I tested it was the actual build, like the building, tank building. You couldn't like do any of the missions with the tanks you built. You couldn't even go to anywhere that wasn't the flat terrain building menu. Like, quite literally 90% of the game was cut out for the new beta to function. Okay. Now, something I want to try. Currently the pivots for this tank are right here. If I can bring these pivots back into the turret ring, I will lose gun depression. That is just how it will work. But that also means I can push this armor back a few blocks. And if I can do that, the turret itself can be tiny. And that's what I really would like. I would like an absolutely tiny turret tank that has a fully functional, like, high capacity battle cannon with armor. Because, like, this one, this whole, if I do this, you can see where the armor is. The armor ends right here. Like, this entire part of the turret is just armor hanging off the front of the turret ring. Oh, I'm using an oscillating turret for this one, so it's a little different. I forgot I was doing that. Yeah. So with this one, the oscillating turret, the seat's in the center instead of off to the side like this one is. And the gun's in the center here. It has so much unused internal space now that I actually like sit in here and look at it. Like I can genuinely just run. I'm getting stuck. Run around inside here. Getting stuck on that little breach piece. Oop. All right, let's get rid of this for the time being. We don't need it. Yes. They can see the laser. Whether or not the laser stays might change. For the time being, it's just so I can see. Eventually, I will have an actual gun sight on this, and I'll probably have the laser as a infrared thing, so no one sees it. And then just using camera sights to actually target and fire. And the laser will just be laser range finding. And I do have a theory for how I want to ensure center. Basically having a laser for bus stock. This is testing. No one's going to see the laser. For now, there's no reason to do anything with the laser. I'm just testing the turret. Because what I want to do... There's really no reason to move the pivot back beyond this point. Solely for the fact of that's where the turret, that's where the cannon is. And the cannon itself can be damaged. So... I'm going to do this. Actually, real quick, let me check which direction these were. Yeah, okay. Those were in that direction. That's why I wasn't wanting to do it. Okay. Because I need 6 blocks, and I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that would be the front of my turret. Or, alternatively, I could do... Because this is where the breach is. I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And if I can push this pivot back even further, I could reduce this back even further. But I run into a few different risks. I could completely get rid of the gun depression of this vehicle. And then bring the turret armor, or the hull armor, up to protect the turret ring. That is an option. Here's what I want to do for right now. I think these were at 16 and 3. That's the wrong thing. This is what I want. -1 and 1. Speed. Let's just do 10% for now. So this can go to about -19, I think that was. And that's before it starts pushing the loader into the base of the tank. Okay. And .09. I think that's where it's colliding with the turret ring. So, I were to do this. Would do what I want it to, I believe. And then so essentially the way the game operates is it tries to estimate the shape of something and then subdivides it into these blocks. And it's just how it does physics calculations. And each one of these is considered essentially a different shape, a different layer, a different block collection. And the way the battle cannon works is it penetrates a certain number of layers. So by doing this, like these weird shenanigans with these ribs right here, the game will separate these into different layers. So battle cannon sees it as it has to penetrate this first layer. So this first layer. Then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and it runs out of power. At this point, anything past here will not be damaged. And that's what I'm trying to do to the turret as well. So if I grab this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, yeah. Okay. Then I do doink, doink, doink. Oh, nope. Doink, doink. Game should. Nope, I didn't do it right. That's fine. I'm going to do it just in here too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do that and then that. Essentially, you have to trick the game into doing what you want it to, into creating the layers you are expecting, like this. This side didn't do it, so I have to redo this side. And in some cases, if it really doesn't want to do it, you may have to build your tank asymmetrically simply so that it will generate the way you want it to. It is still refusing to do. There we go. All of that finickiness to get a turret. Now, I do have to do an additional thing to these because do this. Because corner wedges will merge, or these wedges as well. So if you just put corner wedges, I'll show you what'll happen. Here, let me just build. No, build. It said build. If I were to just do these out here, the game will try and simplify by morphing them into each other like this. And what you get is sections, giant holes in your armor that nothing fills. And I can demonstrate that by using these. Here, I need more room to put these. So I've used this for floors or roofs in some situations where I want to have that, like, just have that extra volume. But here's the problem. Oh, did they patch it? You can actually, I'm getting stuck in it. You can actually fall through this gap. It's big enough that you can fall through. Oh, yeah, you can see me sliding on it because it does not like this whole gap right here. Nothing is there. I think if I actually grab a rifle, I should be able to shoot through it. Yeah. Um Yeah, it's bad. That like there's no collision detection there. You can just shoot straight through it. Which is why you have to be careful with the way you layer this, because technically something could go right through this gap here. It's a small gap, but it is a potential problem. That's why you're trying to do these thick layers and trying to get them as close to the top as possible. And yes, I am reducing some of my security with that wedge, but I could also build it back and do this wedge. Actually, no. I'm going to use a wedge. I'm going to use this. And depending on how you actually combine these wedges together, you can get different shapes out of it. Actually, I don't want to do this. Because I forgot I need to do... So there is a method to my madness when it comes to how armor works in this game. It's janky. It genuinely is. Didn't do what I wanted it to. There we go. So now, another thing as well, because this is considered a different entity, the first impact point for any round is going to be this wedge. And when I say different entity, not just a different block, it is actually a different entity to this game. And what I'm going to do, just to save on lag a little bit, is I'm going to connect those. Now, if anything were to hit this, let me save this real quick. I'm going to load in my Mark 31. No, it doesn't count the blocks. At least... So that's kind of how fragmentation and HE work, is they just have an explosive radius. But armor penetration actually counts the layers that you go through, not the blocks. So now, just about anywhere here that isn't like, of course, the gun breach, if I fire... Oh, I forgot, I'm loading fragmentation to this one. So that was a really bad example. That being said, the gun breach is damaged solely for the fact that the gun breach is exposed right here. It's just a long piece. But nothing else inside here is hurt. And if I did use armor penetration like I should have, can I actually load into armor penetration in this one? Should have a belt of armor. Let me... There we go. Now if I do this... Despite all that damage, and yes, you can see there's damage inside, no critical component is actually hurt in this. And if I grab these numbers, negative 19.09. And I hook this back up. I could, in theory, put as many rounds into this frontal armor, and nothing of any importance would ever be damaged inside. And the same thing is also technically true for this one. However, it's using a slightly different armor, so I might pen it. Yeah, there's nothing in here damaged. You can see there's some damage here, but none of the pivots are hurt. None of the autoloader functions. This is hurt, but that's actually just the front armor. That the ammo is built into the front armor down there. Isn't this game interesting with how it does a lot of like weird calculations? But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is the amount of blocks it takes to stop something. Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, I think today is going to be a short stream. I really want to actually get to editing out the vintage story stuff, honestly. Um, so at this point, we have the turret and autoloader done. I need to do some tweaks to the turret to just make it faster and aim better. Uh, but at this point, we just have to slap an engine into the system, move some things around to like move the logic block off the top of the turret, and this should be ready to go. It's probably not going to be the best, but it will be combat ready. So, that being said, unfortunately, I'm going to be doing a short stream today, so I'm going to end it here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, stick around, and until next time, peace.